Hey everyone, time for another massive LEGO City update. It's going to be very long, but it'll be very detailed and fun. Let's get started. Down by the beach, we have a guy who's shark fishing named Ty. He has a little bit of shark repellent with him, just in case any of the sharks get too close. He actually already has caught a shark, as you can see right there on the crane, and his wife, Jess, is sitting, sleeping, and napping in the chair. I really like this lime green beach house because it has a bed in the upper story down underneath there. Then it also has a little kitchenette and a grill outside with a little pot. The thing I like most, though, is around the back, which there's a little shower that has a small bar of soap and a towel, which is just a door piece. In the water, there's a jet skier who's currently jet skiing. His hair's a little bit twisted, so let me fix that. But basically, I built this very easy to make jet ski. Just takes a few pieces, but I made it so that the minifigure can stand because that's how a normal jet ski would be. I also used all these 1x1 slopes coming out the back of the jet ski to show a bunch of water. Further in the water is some dolphins, and they are jumping in the waves. They're attached by using a 1x1 cylinder brick. Still in the water, there's a little boy who has a boogie board that he's playing in the waves with, and he's waving to his friend who has some ice cream. His mom and their mother is napping on the beach. This mom is taking her daughter out on a walk, and this guy just got buried in the sand, and this girl's taking a picture of it. Further down the beach, there's an oyster, another guy on a towel, a crab with a fish, a starfish, and some people on the chairs. There's also a lady in a hammock who's taking a nap, except for she looks like she has her eyes open. And finally, another mother and their daughter, mother and her daughter, are sitting on the beach in some more beach chairs that I made. I actually have a beach chair tutorial in my beach update. The last thing on the beach are the bathrooms, which can be opened up to see some changing rooms on either side, as well as some toilets. So that is the last building of the bathrooms. Oh, and there's a slide that goes down into the river, and the river takes you out right here. Moving to the other areas of the countryside, we see a park ranger who's taking tickets to board the train. He has a little soccer ball inside there because that is for the soccer field right here, which has a little bit of nostalgia because this Kick the Ball is a set that I used to have when I was much younger. They have a little spring on the bottom of it, and actually when you pull back this tab here, it springs forward. Let me know if you ever had any of those soccer sets when you were younger, or if you still have them now. This hole in the table actually leads to a subway system that I'll soon build, which goes over to my city. There's a playground to wait while you're waiting for the train, and also a bridge which leads to the marketplace area. The marketplace area is very detailed. We have a meat stall, a beer stall, a bread stall, a vegetable stall, and a fruit stall, as well as a bunch of other random vegetables, bread, all sorts of the normal things you would see being sold. There's also a painter underneath the tree and a magician pulling an ethically sourced and safely protected bunny rabbit out of his hat. I also like the vineyards, which have upside-down ice cream scoops in purple, which I used for the grapes. There's also a wine press, which a lady is standing in, and I have to update a little bit by adding some purple in the bottom, but that's, you can see the purple wine in the pump. Moving over to the rest of the farm as I shuffle around the table, we can see the pig pen here. I used a whole bunch of different brown plates to symbolize various types of mud, and I added a bunch of greenery in this trough. Trough. And that's for the pigs to eat. There's also a little girl who's plucking a carrot for her bunny rabbit to eat, and I wanted to show that all of these were carrots, so I had one of the carrots being pulled out of the ground. There's also a chicken coop, as you can see past the pig pen. It's a little bit blurry, but underneath there are a bunch of, oh, now it's really blurry. There you go. There is also a chicken coop where you can see some eggs underneath there, and that is for the hens to lay eggs. There's also a boy named Carter who's jumping up and down with some chickens and shaking them all over, and his mother and father are greatly concerned as to the state of the chickens. In this area, I wanted to add a fence all the way around here to keep in the animals so they don't run into the marketplace, but I still have to add it. The wheat field is also very unique. Well, actually, not unique at all. Most of the Lego community does this, but unique in the sense of it takes a very long time for me to make. Oh, the camera's adjusting. But it's made out of these bars, and the bars are 6L bars and 4L bars. Then I have some Technic pins put on. The reason why I said unique was also because most of the community doesn't use gold, but I thought it looked nice to intersperse some gold bars in with the tan bars. Here you can see I have to build and extend the field, so it's going to start over here and go all the way to the end of this gray base plate. There's also a barn where at the top is where they store the hay with a crane to get it up, and the tractors on the inside. I also made a little plow here, which can break up the ground before planting. Moving back over to the park area, we see there are some pickleball courts as well, and a path that leads to the hiking hill. There's all a bunch of little details in these forests, such as this infamous grandpa who is attacking Emmett with a chainsaw, but little does the grandpa know that he's actually being stalked by a tiger. So that's a little bit interesting. Further up the hiking hill, there are some hikers who are examining the waterfall, and a guy who's camping. I like how I used a little 2x4 roof piece for the sleeping bag, and he looks like he's having a great time. Some people who are not having a great time are this grandpa with his grandson. Now, unfortunately, they've lost their paddle. Grandpa looks a little nervous. Let me see if I can get a better view of the grandson. He's like screaming, see that? And that's because they lost their paddle and they've been stuck on a rock. I also made a little coyote den right here. Now, the back of this hill is all made up of random bricks. And that's because it doesn't matter because you'll never see it. From the front, it's all green. Now, going further up the hiking hill, we see a bear on the hill. There are some animal researchers who are looking at this rare elk, which is actually a reindeer Lego piece. But anyway, this elk is actually guarding this jeweled stone, or jeweled sword in the stone. So that's kind of cool. And it's actually buried right over a Viking who was buried in his Viking ship, like you would see up in Nova Scotia area. Farther down this mountainside area is the Dwarves. They are mining deep in the mountains. It's hard to get a lot of light in there, but you can see the minecart back there, and you can actually also see them. You can faintly see down into this hole here. I wanted to give it a few points so it looked like the Dwarves were mining. And they've almost made it to this big gold vein. See that? They just got a little bit more mining to do. And that kind of wraps up the hill area. But behind the hill is also cool. It's going to be the, I guess, good guys' base, so to speak. But there's all going to be suits on all of these 2x2 modified plates. And that's going to be where the good guy is going to be based. I'll show you the bad, evil layer in a second. Here's the guards, and this whole entire area is going to be sort of an underground section, and it will look like totally normal from that area. Moving over to my city area, we see an apartment building which has two identical condos in it. There is a chair with a lamp and a dresser, a bed, a balcony with a golden little facade there, which I really like. The second layer comes off, and you can actually see the main floor. There's a sink, some cupboards, some table and chairs, as well as my favorite thing about it, these bookshelves. Excuse me. I really like how I incorporated that underneath the stairs by using 1x2 plates. The grocery store is right next door. You can see cherries, bananas, not bananas actually, cherries, apples, croissants, bread, little cakes and pies, some fish, chicken legs, hot dogs, and a whole bunch of canned goods. I also like how in the back there I had orange juice, whole milk, 1% milk, and 2% milk to kind of simulate how a store would be. And the checkout lane has a little bit of candies in it. Now, I do want to add a second story so that this grocery store is the same level as the surrounding buildings. So I'll probably put like a second story with like maybe a clothing section for that. This is the pet clinic, and I recently made a video on it, but I'll still show you inside. I like how there's a vine running up the side. And this actually used to be a apartment building until I did a lot of the interior and exterior. So this is where the vet lives. See a shower, sink, toilet, some drawers. There's also a full kitchen with a sink and a stove and an oven, as well as a bed. And now the bed is close to the stairs so that if the vet gets a call in the middle of the night, she can just race down the stairs. And I actually showed that in my video. So let's actually take this story off and set it over here. Now the second story, so there's those stairs coming down. We see some roses on the wall to keep the animals calm in the surgery. There's also a emergency syringe in case anything goes wrong with some extra medicine in it, and a counter with a sink. There's obviously the operating table, and then also some blue chairs so the pet owner can sit and wait while their pet is getting worked on. In the back is the general checkup room where there's a scale in the corner as well as a pet treat and some sinks to wash the animal up. Now this is where the Airbnb / VRBO is, where if your pet is having surgery for a long time, you can rent one of this section or the section underneath, which I'll show you in a minute. But there is a shower head here, there's a sink, toilet, full kitchen again, a fridge, and a bed. So taking off this story here, we can see the waiting room of the vet. There are some Minecraft minifigures for the kids to play with. There's a stormtrooper who's bringing his little cat to get looked at. And there is a chest of pet toys as well as a dog bone. Here is the vet herself. She works from this office. This is her office. You can see all of her books behind her. But this disabled vet has his dog, and he's now a sheriff. And I like how I made it so that he has a service dog, which is connected with a 1x1 pin. Here is the front of the vet clinic. There are people bringing spiders, walking out with a cat. And this is another vet who is going to do a call. He is the assistant vet of this facility. Now, the bottom story is really cool. There's a pet door, which is kind of fun. And this is, again, another Airbnb for the people to stay in. It comes with a little kitchen, or at least some covered space. It comes with a nice checkered tile bathroom. And there is also a bed there. What I really like is this bike garage right here, which you can store your bike in while you're staying in that particular Airbnb. So let's just put this back. Let's see here. Like that. Next comes this roof, which goes in right here. And then this goes here. Whoa, I'll need to fix that. Pop the vine out. Going across the street is the Italian diner, or really it's a full-on restaurant. Now this is going to look really great, especially because I got this technique from my favorite Lego YouTuber, Brickscraft, and he made these 1x2 forest pieces. Someone told me, timber pieces or log pieces, and we made them to look like clay roofs. So you can actually put that in that channel, and that'll be all the way up and then all the way back down the other side. It's going to be a very big restaurant. As you can see, there's tables and chairs. It's kind of a mess right now because I'm in the middle of working on it. But this is what it will look like. Here's the outside eating area, which is really cool, and right next to the zoo. Now, the zoo has some terrariums with some spiders in it. There's also some frog habitats over here. You can take a look at my other videos to see inside. There's also a polar bear with her cub, and there's their little hut right here. They're eating a fish right now. And there is an aquarium with a shark in it, as well as a little fish that he's chasing. And this is used by taking 1x6 bricks panels, and attaching them all together to make it look like there's water. Here are the seals, Mama, a Dada, and a baby seal. And then there are Harry, Hermione, and Dumbledore watching the seals. Moving over to the petting zoo area. It's very small because I didn't want to buy too many animals, and it just fits nicely here. There's a boy who's eating the petting zoo food, which is really funny. There's also some goats and some sheep who live in this little hut here. I also like, actually I don't really like it. I think it looks a little bit ugly, but this 1x2 tile, ingot tiles that make up the walls of the mayor's office. Now the reason why the mayor's office looks that way is because when this city was founded, it was the only building, and they had to make it really durable to fight off raiders. So let's pop this roof off, and you can see I put in a whole bunch of books because it's also the town library. So there's a whole bunch of books. I used 1x2 modified plates. I used 1x2 plates, 1x2 bricks, 1x2 modified bricks to make all of these books look very unique. So I really like the inside of this building. I just think the outside just looks a little tacky. But let me know in the comments how you change it. Maybe it looks too square. It just doesn't look right to me. Oh man, we're having some trouble shutting this. All right, moving over here, there's a small beach area next to the river, just in case the kids can't go to the big beach over here. But this is where they come to play instead of going to the beach. There's also the parsonage. So here's the pastor. Him and his wife live here, and his study is way up in the top of this old lighthouse tower. This used to be the lighthouse keeper's house, and the lighthouse keeper would have to climb up here to look out over the harbor and see if ships were coming. This all can be taken apart, as can every building in my Lego city. And you can see there's a nice little kitchen area, as well as a bed and table and chairs. Now, the church is also really cool. It's just right next door. And let me just point out the graveyard here. It's right next door to the church, which my pastor says is a very good thing. And I really like how I made a little cobblestone pathway right through the graveyard so that people don't have to walk this way. Now, looking inside the church, let's first show the front. It looks really nice. There's some great big massive doors, and it was one of the first buildings to be built. There's my finger, sorry about that. But let's actually pop off this roof area. Now, this roof area, the roof is very large, but I think it's because the building is so big. And I like how I put some blue tiles in the shape of a cross, added some pews, as well as added a stained glass cross window right here. See, that's in the shape of a cross right behind the pulpit, so I really like how that looks. Moving across the road from the church, there's going to be a meeting area for people to gather, as well as maybe adding, I don't know, put in the comments what you want me to add there. There are a lot of minifigures dressed up in medieval regalia, and also Captain America randomly, but they're all going to some event in the park area here. But right over in this direction, there is the footbridge to cross this river, and there is the nuclear, this is the hydroelectrical dam. I just broke the roof, but that's okay. You can see the scientists are busy at work as the river rushes underneath those wheels. It charges those two batteries right there. So this is what is supplying electricity to this section of the city. Now I got to shuffle around the corner because here is where the news station is being built. As you can see, the lady here is in charge, and she is telling the other guys what to do and how to build this building. Here is the news team. They're reporting on the progress of this building because they really want to finish, because right now they are just broadcasting from the river. Not the river, I mean a field. Directly across the street is this large hotel. So someone's getting their picture taken here. They're staying at this hotel, and you see a lot of businessmen in this area. But let me look inside here. So underneath in the top story, let me pull this up. Hold on. There you go. So in this top section is the eating area. I still have to work on this. I don't know what else to add. I just kind of left it pretty bare. The next story is where the other things are. Other things being the bathtub. You can see I still have to finish the bathroom. There's some books on the wall. There's the first bedroom, second bedroom, and I thought third bedroom, but just 2 bedrooms. So the hotel is not very large, but that's okay. Looking at the main first floor, you can see the check-in area, which has some nice wooden planking, and then also the pool, where you can go if you are a citizen of this town. So the hotel nicely lends the pool to everyone here. So that lady's going to enjoy the pool. Let me just put this all back. Oh, let me show you while I do that. And put this here. Okay. Add this roof back on here. And now we can go over to the fire station. So the fire station is the old clock tower. You can see here, and that tells the time for the entire city. And let's take a look inside. This will go, I don't know where to put it. Let's put it there. And you can see inside here, here's where all the firemen and women sleep. There's a shower here, shower there, and 2 toilets. Now you might be concerned because this glass looks like it's see-through, but it isn't. It's one-way glass. So the firemen and women are safe. Now lifting this top off and setting it on the hotel, we can see the firemen all enjoying their day while they're waiting for another fire. They're watching TV, one's got some tea it looks like, and there's a table that overlooks the city. Now I also really like this trophy in the corner that the fire chief won for being the very best fire chief in town. No, don't tell him he's actually the only fire chief, but this is where he keeps his trophy because he really likes it. Now in the main section of this fire station is the fire truck. So, man, this city's getting a little full with building sections. And this is the fire truck. You can see there are the suits for the firemen, some axes, and here's where they can hang their clothes when they're going to fight a fire. This is a custom-built fire truck. Now, most of my city is custom-built, but most of the vehicles are not, but this one is. And this is kind of modeled after the fire truck set that uses this same piece here, and I will post it when I do the editing. So that's a fire truck. There's also all these grill pieces so the water can drain from the fire truck. Let's put these all back. I like on the fire station how there is some architecture right here. These are actually shield pieces, so let me take one off. This 2x3 shield piece I put onto the wall like that, and it uses the same technique as the police station, which I'll show you in a minute. Let's keep putting it back. Basically, it uses plates on its side. So these are not bricks. These are all plates put together that go on its side. See here? I can take this whole panel out and show you. So that plate on the bottom where my thumb is what is actually holding this entire wall section up. So let's rebuild this area quickly. And then we can move on to the police station over here. Let's just get the roof back on. And here's the police station. So the police station is a set, so I'm not going to go over it. But I put a little guy climbing up the side, and I don't know what he's doing. If he's good, if he's bad, I'm not sure. But he's looking to get a better view of the city. There's a donut shop on one side, and of course the main tan section is the police station. This is the only set in my entire city, besides the vehicles. And I want to make sure I don't use any more sets. It's all supposed to be a custom entire city. So now moving over to Mrs. McGonagall's jewelry store. Let me take the top off here. And pull it from back here. You can see a whole bunch of jewels. There's some gold, there's some silver, every single kind of gem you can imagine. And this is her museum slash jewelry store. And now we come to Case's Diner. This is a paramotor. So Case lives in the countryside and he flies this over every day. It's about a 50-mile flight and he just loves it. He loves paramotoring. And he lands right onto the roof. But inside of it, this is called Case's Diner. And Case, who flies the paramotor, is the owner. He's the chef Case. Now let's take a look inside. You can see the roof says Case on it, which I really like. And here is the first story, which has a lady and a man eating. There's also a white vine that climbs up it with a chimney. And the chimney comes from the stove, which is on the very bottom floor. Now there's the stove in the corner, along with an oven, a fridge right here, and Chef Case serving some eggs. He only serves lunch and breakfast because he likes to go home for dinner and read or fly on his paramotor. So let's put Chef Case's Diner back. And I like how the front of it really looks. And I actually designed this building in stud.io, which is an online program that you can use to use any piece in the world. Now the next building in this section is the bank. This was the very first building I believe I built in my entire city. The other ones have all been destroyed because I didn't like how they looked, but this one's kind of a classic. There is a bank lady up top here working, and there's another office space here. Then if you go down the stairs, I like how first of all, I like how this is open. So this lady's looking down into the main floor. I really like how that looks. It looks like there was a bank robbery recently because a bunch of the bills are all over the floor. But this is the bank owner, Mr. Gold, right here. So I think that's kind of funny. I don't own the actual Mr. Gold figure as that's like $10,000. So I just bought a fake one. And here is some wall art. I thought it looked kind of fun to add a bunch of random pieces like that. Down here is the safe. There's some boxes of money and a bar door to get down there. So let's put this back. Everything in my city is all custom made and it all has an interior, which I kind of like. So the last section of this city is right here in the middle. So above the Italian restaurants and above the zoo is the coffee shop. Inside, a man's pouring coffee, and there's a full barista, or not barista, here's the barista, but the full coffee maker, some other drinks you can have, and people really like it. I kind of made it look a little bit like Starbucks with the dark green, but it's really just a generic coffee shop. Right across the street from pathway from the coffee shop is Mrs. McGonagall's Seamstress place. So I put all of these medieval flags on the wall to show reams of cloth. And here she is sewing some pants. Now, she actually has that sewing machine, but it's fake because she can just use her wand to fix all the clothes with magic. Now, looking underneath Mrs. McGonagall's area is the plant store. I really like how in the windowsill there's a bunch of little plants, and I try to add a whole bunch of different pieces. A pine tree in the corner, and here is the lady that does the gardening. She really enjoys it. She's smiling super wide, and she's actually just watering the roses. And then, last but not least, we have the train station. So there's a bunch of interesting characters here. Legolas is right here, Sensei Wu, Yoda, Clone, guy from Toy Story. And the reason why there's so many people here is because they're all waiting for the train. Now, this is actually a hole in my table, and it goes down some stairs. I still have to finish this section in some live streams, but let me show you underneath. Underneath is really cool because right here, there is where the stairs goes all the way down. Now, this area is really tough because it's hard to see what I'm doing, so I usually have to carry it out, but now that it's attached to the main city, I can't. Another really cool thing about this area is this section here. Now, it just looks like a normal wall with a small little maintenance door, But actually, let me open that maintenance door, and it goes to the secret underground lair of the Enderman. You can't see very well, but that platform is actually going over lava. Let me shove it back some more. See that red lava? That's how the Enderman crosses into his secret lair. And what's really cool is to see it so that the townspeople don't know, but if you ever come to visit my city, I can pull on these vines right here and the wall can swing out. There you can see the cart that drives the lava back and forth, and you can see the reflection of myself. But here are the blocks that the Enderman has taken and from the city and stored down here like an Enderman would in Minecraft. Now another really cool feature is that I can just pop this wall right back into place. So let me zoom out and show you that. See, I can even do it one-handed. And this just makes it look like this is just a regular wall and no one even knows. Now you might notice there's some more vines to pull, and that leads us to the Enderman's bedroom. He really likes pink and purple, I guess, and there's his little cat. But I think this shows that the Enderman is secretly a nice guy, and he's just trying to help rebuild the city. Because look at how not harmful and how innocent his bedroom looks. It looks great. But I like how I made it so this wall can fold out, and you would never even know, unless you knew that it was there, that there's a bedroom behind it. And this subway system is going to run all the way over here, until it pops up right here in my countryside. And that is my entire city. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for future updates because this bridge here is going to lead to a brand new area of town. And I have a few videos on how that's going to look, but right now it's kind of a mess. So thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. One last thing is that I recently added some clouds to my city, and my sister was the one who painted them very nicely for me. They really add a lot of beauty to my city. To clean my city, I use an air compressor with a little nozzle to blow off all my pieces. This works really well if I just go with small bursts of air, which really blows all the dust off my bricks. Otherwise, I'll end up with a ton of dust, even though I have an air purifier and clean my Lego regularly. This is good to get a lot of that dust out.